Hey guys, welcome to the code walkthrough part 2 video for the challenge 2897. In this video, I'm going to walk you through with some important classes I have developed for the application. So this is the starting point. The Start Here tab displays one custom Visual Force page from where you can set your custom settings, the DocuSign login details, and the master detail object details needed for the application. With the help of this master detail object details, the application is made completely generic so that you can use the develop custom button for updating the DocuSign status with any of the master detail related object. The Start Here controller is the controller class for the page, which defines some basic methods to save custom settings, to get OAuth token and store it into the custom settings, to get the API password of the DocuSign account for the API calls, and to store it in the custom settings. This is all what we have in the Start Here controller class. The main part starts from, or the main flow of the code starts from the get DocuSign status button on opportunities. When the user clicks on the get DocuSign status button, this button calls get DocuSign status method, which is a web service type static method defined in DocuSign adapter. These methods eventually call the batch API or the batch class, which makes HTTP callouts, gets the envelope status, and updates the opportunities. Let's see the code for get DocuSign status. In this part, I'm building a dynamic query to get detail object list, that is the opportunities present on a particular account. This method takes account ID or the parent object ID as an argument. It builds the dynamic query. It fetches all the child objects. If it finds there are some child objects, then it starts the business logic. The DocuSign call out the DocuSign do login DocuSign method calls login information API of DocuSign and gets the base URL information and other needed information from DocuSign API. The get envelope status method returns the list of all the envelopes from the past date and for basically the account passed in this application. That is, we're going to set account ID on the envelope's parent ID field, or the master object record ID on the envelope's parent ID field. So this get envelope status basically returns all the envelopes related to this master object and its opportunities. Is my wrapper class, which stores JSON response returned from the get envelope status method. This particular inner class holds all the envelopes returned from the DocuSign API for the particular date and for the particular master object. Basically, I have created one custom object named envelope, which stores all the envelopes returned from the particular API, but I'm taking care of not cluttering the Salesforce database with duplicate values. That is, if the application finds that envelope is already existed into the Salesforce database, then it just updates it. It does not create a new record for the same envelope. It just updates its custom field URI, status, and DocuSign ID, that is the envelope ID in DocuSign developer account. Excuse me. Once the envelopes are inserted into the SF database, we create a batch job to run over all the envelopes present in the database. We send envelope DocuSign ID set and the list of child objects on which we need to update the status of DocuSign envelopes. Let's see batch job. In the constructor, we take the arguments passed from the DocuSign adapter class. Here we'll build the dynamic query needed for the query locator. We get DocuSign custom field URI, its envelope ID and its status, and we store the child object list which needs to be updated in the constructor. Then the flow is normal, the batch apex class flow. When the job is run, execute. First query locator returns the list of envelopes to the execute method, and this scope will hold all the envelopes that needs to be checked against opportunity IDs. Then for each envelope we find out its custom fields values using the get custom field info method, which is privately described. This method mainly calls the HTTP API provided by DocuSign to get custom field information for particular envelope. Then I'm creating here two maps. One is envelope ID status map, whose key is envelope ID present in the DocuSign developer account and its status. So whenever I call this map using the envelope ID, it returns me its status. And the second map I'm creating is opportunity ID field value present on the envelope and the envelope ID. So basically, whenever I call this map using my Salesforce opportunity ID, it will return me its related envelope ID, and then I can use envelope ID status map to get the status of that particular, or the status for that particular opportunity. So in this block I'm creating these two maps, and now the final logic is, if my child object list for each child object, that is in this case for each opportunity, I'm checking if the opportunity ID is present in the opportunity envelope map. If it is present, that means the opportunity ID is matching with some envelope. Then I go ahead and take envelope ID from the map, and I use that envelope ID to get envelope status, which has to be updated, and then I put that status in the field defined in the custom settings with the return status from DocuSign. This logic just checks. This logic basically ensures that the particular list, which opportunity list which we are going to update, does not have duplicate values. So if one opportunity ID is related with two envelopes, it will stamp only one envelope's status on the opportunity. I have written the proper comments over here, and then we call the DML operation to update the opportunities. The naming convention I have used is generic, so I have avoided to use opportunities or accounts kind of words. Instead of that, I have used generic convention like objects and S objects. So this particular batch can be used with multiple objects. This is where our logic ends. The third class, this is the DocuSign app util, which holds all the utility methods needed throughout the application. I have just commented them out, so you can reuse these methods depending on your logic or implementation flow. The DocuSign constant will hold the constants used throughout the application at one place. So if in future, if any of the constant like endpoint URL is changed, you just need to change it at one place, and all the changes will be automatically reflected. This is the wrapper class for the envelope response, as I have mentioned. There is another wrapper class, custom field wrapper, which holds the response retrieved from this endpoint, envelopes endpoint. It holds all the custom fields for a particular envelope, text custom fields and list custom fields both. Currently we are dealing with only text custom fields, so that is why I have declared needed variables in the text custom field inner class. In future, if you are going to deal with list custom fields, then you can define the needed fields in the list custom field inner class. And last but not the least, my DocuSign callout class, which makes actual HTTP calls. DocuSign callout class. This class defines 4 global methods: the DocuSign login do login DocuSign method, which returns string API password for the particular DocuSign developer account. The get OAuth DocuSign token, which returns the OAuth access token. Get envelope status returns all the envelopes retrieved from date for that particular master object, and it wraps up into the envelope wrapper class and returns the object of envelope wrapper. And the get custom fields returns all the custom fields for particular custom field URI. It wraps all the custom fields, that is text custom fields and list custom fields of DocuSign, in custom field wrapper, and returns the wrapper object for further implementation. The get access method is private helper method, which decides which token to use to make API calls. If in custom settings my use OAuth token checkbox is checked, then it will use OAuth access token, otherwise it will use API password. So user will have flexibility to use API password or OAuth authentication access token, whichever he wants. The error handling has given all the necessary comments. I could have commented out the HTTP callout class also, instead of repeating in all 4 methods, but I do not find it is a good idea to split HTTP calls. So this class can be used with any of the application directly as it is. Yeah, this is all the code walkthrough for all the classes. I think that's it. That is the end of code walkthrough part 2. Thank you. Thanks for your time.